Catus Maximus here, this time with a ThruNite Catapult Pro. So this is a 2700 Lumen spotlight, long throw light. Anyway, this is not a sponsored video, it's just a promotional video. This is a $100 flashlight, so I figured I kind of like the idea of these bright spotlights and the fact that this is, you know, brighter than the Catapult V6 that they had, but it just isn't huge and really expensive like the giant Catapult. I should say the TN42 V2, which I have buried right now, but that thing is this massive mile long. This is advertised as about a half-mile reach, and I certainly believe it. So the big deal about making this video and even taking this light is that it seems, and I don't know if it's me, but I've certainly commented to them, and I know other reviewers of ThruNite flashlights have commented about the functionality, and it appears that they've really improved on it a lot. USB-C charging, this uses a pretty decent battery. If we get this open here, it is a protected 26650, 18 watt hour, 5000 milliamp hour. Pretty nice solid brass pin there. Double spring down in the bottom, so it definitely has plenty of tension. They come partially unscrewed, so it is discharging the battery when they're in storage. Otherwise, the big improvements to this light is the fact that they've well, I should say it's interesting, the lens is so focused, kind of hard to see. I think there, you can just see it there, there's actually like a hollow square. It's actually broadcasting a ring. But and ThruNites just have not done this on so many lights, and they just finally improved it on this, is one, press and hold, and it will blink at the low, and then cycle back up, and blink at the high. So it is true variable output. Turbo mode is still a little bit brighter. The second thing is if you press and hold, you get this super dim firefly mode. Press and hold again, and now what we have is a lockout. Super hard to see that. That blinks red. So those are the big improvements. The other improvements, ThruNites do come with extra O-rings, an extra flap for the USB cover, and a new seal for the button. Something I've always kind of wondered. You need to use like a pair of snap ring pliers or something to get in there and unscrew the little lock ring. So they have been including a replacement button, but it's very difficult to actually replace it for most people. And one of the other things that I've appreciated and I've commented to them about in my other reviews is about how these little lanyards do get chafed. They didn't do a perfect job of deburring the lanyard hole, but even ones that are deburred, if you actually carry these on your wrist, as the lanyard rocks back and forth, it will eventually wear out and break. I've had it happen on several lights, so I'm happy to see that they're starting to include a key ring to attach the lanyard to so that it doesn't want to wear out, which is a really, I think, a big positive. Because the ThruNite lanyards are actually pretty nice, because they are, you know, kind of filled and cushioned. And then they actually have this wrist strap lock, which I do appreciate, so it really won't fall off. Anyway, tempered glass lens that we can see just a slight coloring, so I think that may be a UV coating. And let's go out and take a look. Besides that, just comes with a kind of a basic case with a through belt. Not a lot else to say, except for they are improving at least the cooling or the power circuitry somewhat. Now we can see, and it was obvious, so you got about 1500 lumens on the high mode on the variable, and then turbo is 2700 lumens. You get 15 or 25 minutes before it drops down to around 900. On turbo, you get about 10 minutes, which is a big improvement. Many of the ThruNites have been like 5 minutes, so it's 10 minutes at the maximum turbo, and then as it starts to overheat, it'll drop down to 900 lumens, and it'll give you another hour and a half of life. Alright, so we're going to start off. This is the Firefly mode. Let's get it down to where it's dark. Really smooth this time. So that would be on its lowest setting. You can just barely make out the trees in the background. Starting to brighten that up. So this would be 1500 lumens, as we can see. Just has great throw. That little, even though it is a ring, it kind of blends together at distance. And then we can see way out there, really bright. I think we can go from, this is high, and then there's turbo. So we can see the turbo is really super bright. So that's 1500 lumens, and that's 2700 lumens. Now I can feel this already starting to warm up, that's for sure. Starts right in the middle of the light. I suspect part of the 10 minutes at maximum turbo is just because it has such a big lens hood on it. It's just more aluminum for it to sink the heat away. As we can see, we have, a reasonable amount of splash light, or, area lighting, but it really is a spotlight. And for one that can feasibly fit in like a shirt pocket or something, this thing's pretty unbeatable. Man, it's getting really hot pretty fast. 10 minutes, this thing's probably too hot to touch. Wow. Wouldn't recommend that. It's about 70 degrees out tonight, and that's just getting too hot too fast. So it's more of, a lot of people say it's a novelty thing having the turbo. But I guess if you want a little extra light just so you can shine right out, then that's probably, probably the use of it. Most times, if you're just searching for something, you'll be using the 1500 lumen mode. So let's go all the way down again. And this is the low mode, and it would work okay for hiking. It's not the, it's still a spotlight, so you just get this really bright dot. I wouldn't say it's the greatest for hiking, but it's certainly good for, I'd say, search and that type of stuff. Sometimes when you just want to look out across a field or something like that. And I should mention that we still have our ubiquitous strobe. So that's my little video about the Catapult Pro. The other things I'll mention, I like that they added little flats. They're actually intelligent. They're angled, so it does help prevent it from rolling. Not too much. They could be a little wider, but at least they're there. The other thing I'll mention is I don't know if they're assembled in a clean room, but there is no particles whatsoever, and that is a super mirror polish on the reflector there. On my big TN42, there was a little bit of humidity inside it. When I use it in the cold, a little bit of humidity built up on the glass. So I had pulled off the front ring on that, got some particles, and used like a microfiber cloth, and that still left very fine scratches. So I don't know how they polished those aluminum reflectors, and it is a true aluminum reflector, but if you ever pull off the front lens ring, I don't know how you actually clean the reflector without leaving some type of damage. Even the softest of camera lens microfiber cloths will scratch these. Well, scratch the reflector if you go inside it. Otherwise, it's nice having the glass front lens. And even though this isn't sponsored, I still appreciate ThruNite sending this to me. And I think versus the TN42, for how huge it is and the fact that it's like $300 or something, this for $100 is probably, for the form factor, I think it's actually one of the better deals from ThruNite, because you just get so much throw. If you want a pocket spotlight, this is pretty competitive. Now they modernized it so that you actually have an electronic lockout, smooth variable output. And I like how they've improved the grip here. These little things kind of help try to act like heat sinks. But this grip here, or it's not really knurling, but it's not super sharp, but it's more than sharp enough so you get a good grip on it. Once again, I think for just a handheld something, that still is something that you could put into a shirt pocket or something. It really has a lot of throw. It really is pretty bright, even on the normal 1500 lumen high. I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do.